These lines of code just placed a real bet on Kalshi, a US regulated prediction market. In the next 15 minutes, I'll show you exactly how to do the same thing and much more. All the code is free and open source, link below. Kalshi is the only CFTC regulated prediction markets platform in the US. They've recently raised $1 billion and they are valuated around $22 billion. So not some sort of fringe platform, and actually 5 million monthly users. And importantly for us, their API is free and well documented. Why am I pointing this out? Because I am a tool maker, a trading automation software engineer, and what I want to give you today is a little tool and a solid foundation on how to interact with Kalshi's API in Python. So walk you through how you explore markets, events, find your own markets, deep dive to get all the information, some order book, how to authenticate, create the API keys. It's a bit technical as well on Kalshi, and how to place a bet. We'll do that live together. You can see the little one I did for the introduction here. How to find your position, place a limit, order, cancel, etc. In other words, a solid foundation that you can build on if you're, for example, using some AI to help you code, etc. With this, you'll get a good understanding of the foundations on how to do all of that to guide your agent properly or to develop yourself, etc. And before I forget, all these resources are in the article linked down below, where I also use this opportunity to go more into details by writing on all the things we're covering today. Okay, let's go. First thing I want to mention, this is to be used with Python 3.13. I wanted to use the latest version of the SDK that is offered, and the SDK, this is the official Python SDK developed by Kalshi, so you can see it imported here. And if you need to install it, beg your pardon, in your terminal, pip install Kalshi Python sync. And the other two packages we need here are request to do our API requests that you see here, and python.env is later when we authenticate to properly load our credentials. We'll get to that in a second. So some references here if you need to click on the documents and get to them, etc. So let's run this first cell. So everything, all the market data comes from this base URL. So that's why you see a lot then in my request, base URL, then the corresponding endpoints. So where you can fetch everything basically is the events. So here I put a limit of 20. I can just run it. We'll do that. And then we'll do a little loop over the first 5 ones and just pick some relevant information, categories, series, markets inside. Important. So there you go. I'm showing this like that, but of course you can automate and embed this in your own functions, create functions if you want to build a bigger automation, etc. But we're exploring, so I'm showing it like that. So the point that I wanted to show you here, events are like questions. So let's see, I already came to here, but all of these are questions. But inside an event, you can have different markets. So you have some binary ones, like, for example, here on the channel, we do a lot of crypto related trading. So this is a binary market, up, down, 2 possibilities. But here, this is a different, it's an event with several markets inside. You see there's several possibilities to bet on inside of here. So why am I saying this? Because when I put category, series, market inside, you see here, this will be a binary. There's only one market inside, while this one actually has 7 markets inside. So like this is 1, 2. So we'll explore now this a bit more. So that's why I selected events 1. You know, list in Python starts at 0. So 0, 1, we get to this one. And you can see we'll just get more information, the ticker, the bid, the ask, etc. So as you remember, I said 7 markets here inside. So now I'm doing a loop here over all the markets. So that's why, sorry if that was a bit fast, but now we are focusing on the event here with, as we had spotted, 7 markets. What markets do we have inside? We have all of these. And why am I showing this? And why am I always talking about the ticker here? You have, where is it? Well, actually, no, that was the first time we pointed, because if we want to do a bet, that's how we identify the market, is by using the ticker. So our place market order later will have a ticker, and we have to give the ticker we want to bet on. So here, for example, if we want to bet on this answer, we get this ticker, and there you go. Okay, so this was the route was we sort of scrolled the events. We can find all the events. I put 20, blah, blah, blah. We then went inside, found the markets, etc. There is an endpoint that I'm going to show you here, which is markets, which is also now accessing all the possible markets. So not all the events, but all the derived markets, the total. And then what we'll do in a second later, just after that, we'll actually do the game of we have a specific sort of type of market. How do we fetch that? A step-by-step process. But I just wanted to show you that with this base URL markets, same limits here, showing same kind of information, you see all the markets there. There you go. So, but maybe finding a market is more important for us. So crypto trading is more my thing. So we'll take as an example the BTC up-down market here to do this, finding the market and then placing the orders, etc. So what I want to point out is when we want to basically be able to get to that market, find that market programmatically. We have to go through a flow via first the series endpoint, then we'll do events and markets, what we discussed before. But the point is series is all the markets that will follow the same structure. What I mean by that, for example, the BTC 15 minutes, every new 15 minutes, there's a new market that opens. So we want to identify that. So we don't have to change our code, etc. Every time there's a new market, it has to work in a flow if we want. So the point that I'm making is that via the series endpoint, we find our categories. And as you can see, there's a lot of series and there's also a lot of categories. But we see, for example, here, categories crypto. So this little code here filled up all the categories via this series request here. Great. So once we have that, what I'm doing here is I'm saying my crypto series is categories crypto. So I'm getting that, and we can see there's a lot. As we saw, 225, there's a lot. But now we have our series identifier in here. And typically Bitcoin Cash, okay, so this is Bitcoin Cash 15 minutes. What I want is the normal Bitcoin, in the example I said, the normal Bitcoin 15 minutes. So the point is, I hope you're following here, is that now I'm going back to my request on events, but now that I have identified my series ticker, I can put it there. And thanks to this, it will fetch the information of this here. So let's run this and we can see. So indeed, we're verifying. We have now our ticker. We have our ticker of that specific market. And you can see I use the opportunity to show the target price, bid, and bid price, ask price, not price, sorry, odds if you want. So there you go. And what I'm actually doing here is actually fetching it and even more information, event, market price, etc. Anyway, a bit redundant. Importantly, what happened here, except giving again this information, was that we have identified our ticker and we save it in the variable ticker here at this point in the code. So that's quite important. Thanks to this, we'll place our orders, etc. And we can do deeper market deep dive. So here I just wanted to illustrate with a few prints. Once you have your ticker, you see base URL, markets ticker. We have everything, and you see when does it open, close, this market volume information. We had seen a bit of pricing already. So this is a binary market, the status active, the ticker again, etc. But you do see the event title here, the event title. I do want to point out that you can't get it from this request here. I had to sort of reverse engineer. You see here, like we have the event ticker. So from the event ticker, we go back to the core of the events to actually get the event title here. I don't know if that was very clear, but it's just to say that to just do this print, I actually had to reverse engineer, and you don't get it from the ticker. So, depending on your automation, etc., you might be getting to do some filtering, some things like that. So I just wanted to show a bit all this dynamics, etc. But maybe something more important for us trading or whatever, thanks to the ticker, again, we have our ticker now in the call. We are requesting base URL markets ticker order book. We can get the print of the levels. Here I'm showing the first 10 levels. Great. We can get more information. What is the best? Yes bid, yes ask, spread, min point, etc. What more did I want to show you? Oh, the recent trades could be very interesting if you're following what's happening in your automation, what kind of trades are going on, etc. There you go. Okay, we're getting to the practical part. We will be placing some some bets, beg your pardon, very soon. I just want to mention navigating all the markets, events, finding them, etc., is a bit technical. Once you do it a bit, you get really fast, used to it quite fast. But I want to say, once you have your market ticker, then automation going, etc., placing a bet is actually very simple programmatically. But we are placing bets, so the code needs to have proper authentication, beg your pardon. So basically that our account on Kalshi will accept that this code is sending some bets. So this is done via API keys. And in the context of Kalshi is I'll show you actually. Let me stop talking too much. We come here, we go on account security, we come down here, create key, and okay, I'll do test. This is all what is showing up, etc., is all confidential information. You should never share it. One thing I should say, I'll be deleting that after the video. But what we're doing is we're never plugging them directly in the code. We're importing them via a .env. And this is very important. Why am I doing this? This is the general practice. So you can share this code with anybody, with an AI agent to help you code. The keys are never written in the code. They are separated. They are in an exterior file. Okay, so let me get back to here. So read-only, like I think fetch your balance, etc., you could do with read-only. This is just fetching information from your account. But if you want to place a bet programmatically, you need the right permission. So, okay, read and write. So you see, what I get here is an API key and the RSA private key. So this is a file. I'll save this in the file. It got downloaded automatically. So what you could do is just do a copy here, and you see the example. We have two environment variables, this public API key and the path, to the RSA private key, so the .pem key. And in my example here, the key I'm using up to now, you see, you could come here and you do, paste with that, but I'll use the one I was using so far. And I just put tuto.pem, so I pasted my that private key here. And what am I saying? This is the path, but since this file, is right next to the code, you don't see anything. But why am I doing this? Maybe you want to save it elsewhere on your machine, etc. So if you want, you can come and start writing a path, etc. Anyways, so this is done. We are ready. We are authenticated with this. And a good way to check that it works is that I'm going to fetch my balance, no errors. It all worked. 25.13 is, I believe, what I had. And there you go. So this done properly. So how to place a market order? Well, actually on Kalshi, market orders don't exist per se. By market order, what do I mean? It's an order that when you request, you place it, it executes straight away. No questions asked. On Kalshi, that doesn't exist. You only have limit orders, but you can use the different types of limit orders that exist. You might know this from trading if you trade or whatever. These are fill types, how limit orders can fill. So what we can do to mimic a a market order, beg your pardon, is to use the fill or kill. So when I'm placing the bet, either it executes because the conditions are there to execute, either you delete it from the order book. So we do fill or kill, and to make sure it executes, I put a yes price very high. So here we're taking the example that I am betting on the yes, so on the up of our BTC 15 minutes. So that's a little trick to make sure it will execute straight away. So because that's a case you might need in your automation, etc. We'll do a limit order at a fixed price just after. So I put in my bet amount. Another thing I should mention, I think in terms of dollars, my portfolio, etc. But the actual API needs a count or shares, maybe if you want. So I do a little conversion. I get the current ask, and therefore my count is the bet amount divided by the current ask, which is what I put in here. You see, I put the side yes, so the up I'm buying is the limit order. The type is here. And remember, I'm plugging in the ticker that we got earlier. So there we go. I think I'm ready. We can launch it. You can see, okay, we have some information. It was executed. We have the order ID. All great. So that means if we come here, we have seen the position coming in here, and we can also look on our portfolio. And there we go. Very good. So I think what I'll do, oh no, I won't cancel, because the next thing I wanted to show you is actually if you want to programmatically find your open position, because maybe you want to sell them, close them, whatever in your automation, I'm doing client get position here, and there might be several of them. So I'm doing a little loop to show you. Just a little break to say, if you're finding value in this, don't hesitate to click on the like. It always helps. So thanks a lot for that. And just to mention that if you need a professional developer to code trading automation in a larger scale, etc., not just prediction markets, but any crypto trading automation in that context, you don't hesitate to contact me. Okay, back to our open orders. You might have realized that this first part is indeed the position we open. So we see our 4 contracts, KXBTC 15 minutes, great. And the price at which we got it, the market exposure, the odds is open $72. But what you also see is that we get past close orders when we simply get positions here. So if you do want to filter, you can for example, filter on the position FP here, the contracts, or the market exposure, saying I don't want anything that's 0, etc. Okay, so the real limit order. You can see now here, time in force, good till cancelled, type limit. Everything the same, just one important thing, we're betting on the up, on the yes. So we need to give a yes price. That's our limit order price. So the way I like to think about this, that really depends, but as I said before, I'm doing bet amount in dollars, and I want the price per contract, or the odds. So actually what we see here, this price here. So I want to be able to say, I will place the bet if and only if this price gets to that number. So this is what I call the price per contract here. In the example, I'm putting $0.13, but you can see I'm just dividing simply that by 100 here and plugging it in here, the yes price. So pretty easy. And oh yes, something before I launch the sell, run the sell, limit order. Let me run it. We have our bet. We have the order place. We'll see it. But you can see that we have an identifier to characterize this order. I'm storing it here because I'll use programmatically to cancel it. Sorry. So order place, we should come here. I'll come here. I'll update, and it should be in resting, because it's the odds that we saw are not those are cents that we see here, and I've put them in dollars. So this is not 30 cents. So the order has not executed. We have them in resting, pending. So here it is. But what I suggest, we won't cancel it here. We'll do it programmatically. And before, same thing. How do we find open orders? There is a get orders, and you can see resting we have a little selection resting here. So let's run it, and we see it here, and we can indeed see same order ID. So imagine you hadn't saved it at the time of spending, or in your automation, things are a bit different. You can always get the ID from the get orders here. We can see the buy, the price at which we were wanting to get it. It corresponds to 6 contracts, and there we go. So what I'm going to do here is just cancel it. So let's do it. I use the client.cancel order, beg your pardon, and limit order ID here. Let's do it. Cancel order. Great. Let's see if any updated. Great. All right. This is finished. It was a pleasure presenting this to you. I hope to see you soon. Happy trading, and take care.